Hello and happy Maiden Monday. Thank you so much for clicking on to my channel. My name is Vanessa Welsh and this is The Modern Maiden. So on this channel, we take inspiration from books, movies, TV shows, and we use that inspiration to curate our personal style. So every Monday on this channel, I post either a makeup video or a fashion video, taking that inspiration from a current book or movie that everyone's talking about and making that into a look. So today, if you couldn't tell, we are reviewing the movie Wicked. And so my outfit today is very Glinda chic. And so if you like this robe, I will have it linked below. I got it from Amazon. I have so many thoughts on both the fashion, the music, and really the overall impact that the story has had on my life. This will absolutely be a series. Today's look will be Glinda inspired, but we will do an Elphaba inspired look and really do more book versus movie comparisons in the next video. This video will be really my review of the film. I was able to see it twice, and then a little bit of backstory about how I got introduced to the story back in my musical theater days. If you are interested in curating your personal style using the inspiration of the stories that you love, feel free to join our community. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll hop right into it. We are going to start with our skin prep. My skin gets really dry in the winter time, and so I love starting with like a hydrating primer. So the one that we are using today is a Milani Skin Quench. Put a little bit of this Mario Rose lip balm on as well. So when I was, let's see, how old was I? I think either a freshman or I want to say a sophomore in high school, I got super into musical theater. Before then, I was kind of my freshman year. I had been trying out a couple different things, trying to find something that I felt like really much. Oh, this is really thick. That's nice. That actually feels really good. I was not expecting that to feel. I had used the SPF version of this before, and I like that one, of course, because SPF is so important, and I have some hyperpigmentation on my skin, so I really like using the SPF one in the summer. But this feels so nice. I'm like, okay, anyway. So when I was in high school, I remember kind of like trying out different things. I was really looking for, like everyone is in high school, a group of people that I felt like I could really identify with, you know. Now we're also going to go in with an eye primer. We're doing a ton of color in this look. So this is the Juvia's Place eye primer in color 1. I'm going to put that all over the lid so that way when I place the color on there, it really shows up. But anyway, so I remember in high school, I had done cheerleading. I had done a couple of sports here or there, really from my 8th grade year to my freshman year. And I was like, I like these clubs, and I'm an extroverted person, so I always had a lot of friends. But like, I have friends that are in these clubs, but something about these are not hitting, you know. Like, I love cheerleading, but I don't see myself doing it for a long time. And I had tried, what was the other thing? There was like a couple sports I had tried that I was just like, you know, I don't know. So because I have always loved music, I can't even remember how I decided to get into it, but I was like, let me just go ahead and try theater. Now, I know that this looks crazy. Throughout this video, it's gonna look crazy because that is what the makeup journey does. So we're going to go ahead and zoom this out a little bit so that you can see a little bit better. Do not be alarmed by the makeup looking crazy. That is how you know that it is going to look wonderful, because you just got to trust the process. So I believe it was my sophomore year of high school, and Defying Gravity and Wicked was like super huge. This had to have been like 2009 or 2010. And so everybody and their mama was singing Defying Gravity. If you are a theater kid, then you know Defying Gravity was a song that the girlies tried to use to be like, hey, I can sing for real, you know. I am not just a little cutesy girl who's out here trying to do something. Like, I can really throw down. Now, could all of the girlies who were trying to sing Defying Gravity both then and now really sing the way that they thought they could sing? that's neither here nor there. But anyway, that was a song that everybody was using to really prove themselves. So I remember I had played extras in the first couple plays that I did. I believe I did Grease and I did something else. And then now it was time for me to audition for a lead role. And I was like, okay, why don't I try Defying Gravity? I know in theater kid class it can be like a little bit cliche, and I for sure cannot sing it the way that it, you know, needs to be sung, but I could at least try. And I remember reading the lyrics for Defying Gravity, and that was the first time that I really was impacted by the story. There was something about the line, something has changed within me, something is not the same, that I was like, huh, this is a little bit different than the average play, you know? And I love musicals. I'm a musical girl, but the average play tends to be like, you know, a little bit lighter. At least the ones that I was used to tended to have a lot of a lighter subject matter. You know, like I said, I loved Guys and Dolls. I loved The Sound of Music, you know, and so though those of course could have some things that you can infer, those were lighter movies, you know. And so with Wicked and reading Defying Gravity, I was like, wow, like, what is this about? You know, we are going to go in with Juvia's Place Berries, and we are going to take this light pink color here. If you see me looking behind, it's because my mirror is directly behind the camera. But we're going to take this light pink color here, and then we're going to use that as our transition color. So when you're doing a transition color, you want to use a looser brush, like something similar to these. And then when you're going in with colors that you want to pack on a little bit more, you want to use like a denser brush. Now, I have, okay, let's zoom back in so you can see. I have a hooded eye, so I have smaller eye space. So I will be using smaller brushes, so that way I can more so define and show what's going on. You'll also see me adding the cut crease that I do slightly above my eye, because that's how you know, communicate a cut crease on a hooded eye. So if you don't have hooded eyes, your application might be a little bit different than mine, so I just want to give that context. When I remember reading the musical and just really, really being impacted by it, like Elphaba's story of being so rejected just simply for how she looks is definitely something that I could relate to on multiple levels. One level, of course, would be being a Black woman, of literally just existing in life. I love the scene in the beginning, and she walks in and she has the answers to some questions that people are going to ask already prepared. This is the average Black woman experience, typically about your hair or about your look. You know, you have a 30-inch bust down one day, and then you have, you know, 30-inch micro braids, which, by the way, Elphaba's micro braids, oh, I love that she decided that. It gave me very much Brandy from Cinderella as well, even though Brandy's a little bit thicker. I love that they made that choice for her hair. That was so amazing. But anyway, you know, when you walk in as a Black woman, someone's going to ask you for help, and someone's going to ask you something about your look. For some reason, being a Black woman in society, everyone assumes that Black women know how to do everything and know how to help with everything. And that expectation doesn't seem to be put on other women, but it for sure is always put on us. And then anytime that we decide that we don't want to help, or that we want to be relaxed or treated as everyone else is treated, you know, people can have a problem with that. So I really love how they showed that as the introduction of her being like, oh no, I've never eaten grass, I've always been green, you know, just kind of prepared with those answers. Fast forward, it's 2011, so it's right before I graduated from high school. So I ended up moving. I went to school in Delaware. My family and I moved to Jacksonville, Florida. We're gonna go in with this pink here, and then we're gonna use kind of like an in-between dense and fluffy brush. We're going to use this one here to add some of that pink here. already signed up to do this senior trip with some of my classmates to go to the UK. So we end up flying to the UK. By the way, I am just adding this pink into my crease to kind of deepen that lighter pink, and then I'm putting a little bit on the edge of my eye here, and then I'm also kind of pushing the color up towards my brow bone. On this trip to the UK, one of the things that we get to do is go to Broadway in London to see a play. And so the play that we see is Wicked. And so when I say that the actress who plays Elphaba in the Wicked on Broadway, homegirl slays. I will find out her name and I will add it to the video, but she is incredible. She gives a much more soulful take to Wicked, which I really appreciated. But it also was amazing because I had only read the scenes up to that point, but then I was getting to actually see the scenes right there on Broadway, which was just incredible. It was beautiful. I remember getting to the stage and seeing the map of Oz like up on the stage. It was the first time that I had really seen Defying Gravity and Popular and No Good Deed Goes Unpunished like performed on stage. And it just, once again, like with how the impact of reading the music, like it's hard to describe. So that is how I got introduced to the story. The crazy thing was, you know, so much had happened between obviously 2011 and 2024. I was in high school when I first saw it, and now I'm like married. I have my husband, I have my son, and there were so many aspects of it that really still impacted me, and then other aspects of it that impacted me really differently. Take some more of this Juvia's primer, and we're going to use it to cut our crease here. So you're going to see me use my little compact mirror on here so that we can get this right. When I heard that the film was coming out, I was ecstatic. I was so excited. I had told my whole family, I had sent everyone the link, and I was like, this is a movie that I saw in London when I was in high school, and like the musical that I like did my first like solo, and so for my audition, not my first solo, but my first like audition, I'm like, I cannot wait to see this. And then when I found out that they cast a black woman to play Elphaba, then I was super excited. So when I saw the film, I actually have my notes right here from both when I saw the film the first time and when I saw the film the second time. So I'm actually going to flip here and literally read to you what I wrote down so you can hear my reaction. So if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. This is a deep review. We're getting all the way into it. Now, we're not going to talk about anything for the second half of the play or the second half of the movie, because obviously part 2 hasn't come out yet, so I don't want to spoil that part. But we are going to get into everything for part 1. So it opens, right, and it's No One Mourns the Wicked. So first of all, it is seeing that scene in the movie was like super jarring. I don't know. Obviously, it hits heavy in the play, but seeing things in film and seeing things on stage, certain things hit differently. So I don't know what it is, but like when I saw the play initially, No One Mourns the Wicked, when I heard the song No One Mourns the Wicked, it just didn't affect me as much. And maybe because I was younger in a different stage of life, but it did not affect me as much as seeing the opening of the movie did. Seeing the poster of Elphaba and how they had exaggerated, it really not even exaggerated, it didn't even really look like her at all, was just insane to me, and then especially since we are, fresh off of an election and thinking about cancel culture and celebrities and thinking about how people are regularly created out to be people that they might be or they might not be, but people are not even necessarily concerned about who they actually are. They just are concerned about blaming them for whatever issue they feel like they don't have solved, or whatever power they feel like they can't grasp. They just need someone to blame, you know, when they feel like they don't have control over their circumstances, you know. And so that theme hits very heavy, you know, in our current culture. And I think maybe just being an adult and being a mother too, you know, just makes things hit really heavy. So then Glinda, you know, starts singing, and Ari just absolutely slays. She is just incredible. So incredible. I saw a thing on Instagram that says Ariana Grande got a PhD in Christian Chenoweth, and I absolutely agree. She made her voice sound just like her. It was amazing. You know, it was so amazing. It was beautiful. It still had some of her personal style, but as she said, I read a quote that said that she wanted to be Glinda. She didn't want to be Ariana Grande playing Glinda. And I really feel like she accomplished that, you know. So now I'm just taking a dense brush and going in kind of above that. So I'm going to let that cut crease dry down a little bit. And so while I am doing that, I am going to start to do a little bit of my under eye, and I'm going to prep my eyebrows. So I'm going to use this Born This Way concealer in Toffee. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to use this Born This Way concealer in Toffee and just plop that under my eye. I do my under eye a couple times in my routine, so you will definitely see me go over it a little bit. And then I use this little fluffy brush for my concealer just to help me just blend that out a little bit. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how to mention every single aspect of the movie that I love. So I think I'm just gonna mention the parts of it that really stood out to me and really meant a lot to me. And then I could always, you know, in another video, or even if you guys wanted to do a live, oh, please comment. Would you love to do a live where we talked about Wicked? Because I would love to hear you guys' thoughts and things about the movie that you enjoyed. So please comment below. If you want to do a Wicked live or just a live in general, let me know when you would want that. And then also let me know what times works for you guys. Because I really want us to have like a community where we're talking about all that stuff. So, quick mention of the fashion. So first thing would absolutely be Glinda's, the first thing would absolutely be Elphaba's jacket. Her black, so oh my gosh, once again with the entrance, she walks in, they add the gravitas to her steps, right? And she says her speech about like stuff that she knew that they would say about her being green. But that jacket, that black jacket with the embroidery and the shoulders, so cute. And then the braids, you know, over to the side, I was like, oh. And then you see her hand like stretch across, and I was like, yo, I didn't know that they were gonna make Elphaba like fly. I thought that they were gonna make her like have a glow up the closer that she got to meeting the wizard, you know. But I love that they gave her some semblance of confidence in the beginning, because I think it shows how sometimes we can undermine ourselves. We can think like, man, I don't have any confidence, or I'm not talented at all, or I really need to grow in all these areas. When there are areas that you are good at, it's a good thing to be a confident, self-assured person. Of course, she can take that a little bit far while she's on her growth journey. But I love that they made her a bit more strong in the way that she carried herself, especially with everything that she's been through. I think, you know, that would make sense. Glinda's outfit that she wears when they are on their way to see the wizard, it's like a pink, I'll add it here, like a pink jacket, and there's like a sheer fabric that peeks through on the sleeve of that. Love it. Love the way it fits her. I think it's so cute. It's definitely something that I would wear. It's like super cute. So I love that. Of course, Glinda's dress that she wears to the ball, that's like inspired by that flower. There's a beautiful video where the stylist talks about a lot of his inspiration for Glinda and Elphaba, and I will absolutely tag that below because I think everyone should watch that video. It's beautiful. So love that dress. I love Glinda's hair is beautiful. The hair all around, because like I said, I love Elphaba's braids. I love Glinda's hair. Of course, the toss is hilarious. But yeah, I think the jacket and that two-piece, like the two-piece jacket and the pink jacket and with the cinched waist on Ari, and then the flower dress that she wears to the dance were absolutely my favorite looks. As far as aspects of the film that really had a huge impact on me, the first one I would say was absolutely when Cynthia is singing The Wizard and I. It made me think of so many things. You know, when you are thinking about your life, you're praying about your life and you're asking the Lord, you're like, okay, like there's so much that I've been through. You know, there's so much that's happened that was so difficult, you know, to overcome, and that I didn't know how to navigate, and I feel like it's my fault. So maybe now I have an opportunity to do something that's going to fix all the things that I felt like I caused. And then this person, because they are a person that everyone loves, everyone looks up to, they can help me fix, you know, this big mistake that I feel like I've made. And there have been multiple times in my life where I have put that undue, impossible pressure on different leaders and stuff that I've had in my life. Where I have looked up to them and go, okay, if they love me, if they accept me, if they can see my talent and who I am, then that will mean that all the wrong that I've done, which side note is not always actually wrong that we've done, but wrong that has been done to us, right? I love that scene with her and Glinda where Glinda explains like, hey, that was not your fault. Sometimes it does take other people in our lives to help us see some areas of our life from a healthier lens. You know, there's been multiple times in my life. My husband was actually a big part of this. I remember we had conversations about different times that I had been like bullied and manipulated, you know, at different times in my life. And I thought, well, yeah, like it was my fault because I was being naive or I was being too nice or he was like, no, like they were acting crazy. They did that, and that is not on you, you know. So I love that they showed that scene because I think I really benefited from having that reminder. So I'm sure that was really helpful for other people as well. So for this green, we're using the Juvia's Place Culture Explorer palette, and then we're going to use both this green here and this green here in the crease part of our eye. So you're going to see me go kind of slowly here just to make sure that I like the color that is turning out as. And once again, I might actually use, well, no, I probably shouldn't need the compact mirror. I should be good here. So we're going to plop that color right in there for our little piece of Elphaba showing up in this eye look. So loved that. Also, you know, in the popular song, right, it pauses. This was another really beautiful thing that really hit a little bit heavier than the play did. I think the movie added a little bit of a heavier gravitas feeling to it because it really zoomed into Aria and Cynthia's faces in that moment. But it showed you know, them looking in the mirror and Ari being like, oh my gosh, Elphaba, like, you're beautiful. I sobbed. Sobbed. I know everyone cried multiple times throughout this movie, and of course everyone's talking about Aria and Cynthia crying, Ariana and Cynthia crying in the movie theater or in their interviews holding hands and stuff. But I just, I really, in my own life, especially when I was younger and when I first saw this, I could just really hold space for, you know, 16-year-old Vanessa watching it for the first time because, you know, I was a dark-skinned, plus-size woman. And so I was regularly being told that I was not the beauty standard, that I was not beautiful. There were lots of guys that I had like situationships with that liked me privately but didn't like me publicly. Just absolutely love that scene. And then of course Ari slays Popular. She, once again, with her PhD in Kristen Chenoweth. I have listened to Popular so many times, the Kristen Chenoweth version, and so there were literally times when watching the movie that you're like, I couldn't tell a difference. Like, if someone had did a side by side of like, okay, this is Kristen, this is Ari, like, I would not have known the difference. And I loved that. That was so good. And of course the Popular, and she's in her robe, and she's, and the thing with her character, now I'm going to go in, by the way, with that glitter. I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to do it a little bit differently than how I practiced it. Between that and the I'm Not That Girl song, I just remember being a young woman and being like, yeah, like, I'm just not that girl. Like, I'm just not the girl that someone is going to love, that someone is going to choose. Truly, honestly, I felt like I wasn't the girl that someone was going to be proud of. I knew that I was a kind person and a hardworking person, and so I knew that, like, okay, someone will probably want to love me just because they're ready to have a wife. I didn't think that it would be that someone would be like passionate about me or excited to be with me just because of what I had experienced up to that point. So now fast forward these many years later, and I'm married to my incredible husband. I am not gonna cry on this, but it's just, sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, the Lord has so much for us, so much more for us than we can ever fathom or think. And He always believes in our worthiness, whether we believe in our worthiness or not, and so just thinking about me not yet having a revelation of how worthy God really does think that I am before that, because like, my relationship with my husband now is just so comfortable and cozy and us, and I remember, and he had the same thing. It was actually something we talked about when we were dating, of he had settled in his life in quite a few relationships where the person really wasn't valuing him or treating him well, but he thought like, okay, but like, I want to get married, I want to be with somebody, so I just have to kind of make this work, and that is not true. If I can encourage anyone with anything in this video, is that number one, you are that girl. Okay, please know that. Worthiness is something that you were born with. You are so that girl, and you literally don't even have any idea. Like, rooms, friendships, environments sometimes feel foreign, not because you're not meant to be in them, but because the people in that room are not always comfortable with themselves, and that was the whole thing with Elphaba's dad. Like, he had issues himself. They were his issues, they were his flaws, they were his fears. He was very afraid of how he was perceived, and so he made that Elphaba's problem, and it was not Elphaba's problem. It was his own issues and his own insecurities with who he was as a person that he made his daughter's fault, and so please know that the Lord designed you to be who you are, and if there are people in your life who can't accept that, then they're just not your people. So now I'm going to take that glitter and I'm just going to put it over that green color just to add a little bit more fun and a little bit more texture. But yes, so absolutely loved. And the cinematography too was just incredible for the movie. It was beautiful. I loved their dorm. I loved the clock library and the dancing through life scene. I thought that was good. Of course, I adore Fiyero. I had seen him from Bridgerton, so of course he was absolutely amazing. I thought it was cool that he got to use the same horse that he had in the Bridgerton series. I saw that somewhere online. I thought that was cool. But yes, he was incredible. He is so good at showing so much emotion in his face, like the way that he looks at Elphaba after they come back from their forest scene, and you could see how he's like so changed. Like he's just looking, the face that he has where he looks at her and he hands her the flower is like girl, you jack me up. Like now I'm like aware of all this stuff that I had been like repressing and like trying to not deal with, and now it's like all at the forefront, you know. Oh, just amazing. He's so good. So now I want to take like a darker green and add it to like this side here. I just don't know if this green that I have is dark enough. I'm gonna dip into this dark green. It's called TIV. I don't want to say it wrong, but I'm just gonna put that on to blend out here just to see if I can kind of soften the edges of this crease. And then I'm gonna add a little bit more of a deeper color on the edge. Finally, at the end, you know, and we are at the Emerald City, you know, in the musical, which I absolutely loved. That was the thing that I felt like was pretty cool. The energy was pretty much the same for me when they showed the Emerald City on the play, and then you saw the Emerald City in the movie. They kept that same energy. Like, it was excitement, but it was like kind of eerie excitement to where you were like, I don't know, they did a good job to where it felt very production-y, you know, because the whole thing is that the wizard is like a con artist, and so he's putting on a show for everyone. He's not being honest and truthful about who he really is. And so when you watch in the musical and they get there, it's like everyone is putting on a show for them. And I found that to be really good. Like, you can feel their excitement, the contrast of Glinda and Elphaba's excitement, and then the kind of eerie nature of Oz, I thought was pretty good. Now I'm going to take a dense brush and go back in with that deeper purple that we used earlier, and maybe a little bit of this one as well, and just kind of deepen that side here. And sort of blend out there. The other thing too with Ariana's character that I found really interesting is when she first walks into Shiz, you see her like trying to establish connection with everyone in the school, because that was really like the only way that she could find power and comfort was with everyone liking her, you know, and everyone applauding her and approving of her. So at first I thought, when I first watched it, I thought, okay, you know, she's just a little bit self-centered, so she just wants to like show off. But now I'm like, no, when I watched it the second time, I was like, I don't know that she knows how to exist or be comfortable in an environment to where she is not the main focus. You know, I think she feels like, you know, and then this is also very evident in conversation we just mentioned with Fiero and Elphaba when they're talking about, you know, everything that happened with their class and with their professor. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm like, you know, I'm super concerned as well, and I think about it all the time, you know, knowing that she doesn't, but she doesn't want to lose Fiero, and she doesn't want to lose his connection. And so the only way that she knows to make a difference or do anything that's really impactful, you know, is to involve every single person and make sure that they publicly see what she's doing, you know. And to be quite honest, there was definitely an aspect of that I could relate to, of not knowing how to be comfortable in a room if I didn't feel like everyone in that room at least thought well of me. You know, I can definitely struggle with feeling anxious or nervous in rooms to where I feel like I don't know how the people in that room feel about me. Do they like me? Do they not like me? You know, so I just found it interesting that the second time that I watched it, I kind of had a different perspective on her motivations for why she just like immediately started singing, you know. And for some reason this second time, the idea of her needing approval for comfort and security, I found, you know, super interesting. I'm taking this pink one, by the way. And so then, of course, you know, there is the super, super beautiful scene where they dance together, right? And so here's my thing. a lot of people don't love Glinda's character because they feel like, you know, she is like white woman feminism. She's like only now wants to give something because someone helped her. And if that is how you feel about it, I understand you feeling that way about it. We all have known someone who is not actually interested in helping. They're interested in looking like they're helping. And, you know, I'll give you a leg up if you give me a leg up type of thing. But I don't feel like, and I felt this way even before the movie, I just feel this way about Glinda character in general. I think for Glinda, sometimes it just takes a particular person, a particular friendship, like a particular relationship. And this is why I wish that they had changed for good in the movie, because I think that would have helped show that. I don't know if they're gonna add change for good in the part 2, but it is a very key part to the Defying Gravity song, and really the whole first part of the play. But it talks about, and it literally says, you know, because I knew you, I've been changed for good. And so I think sometimes people are, and movies do a good job of displaying this in general, but people are living their life, they're doing what they're doing, and it's not until the way that they're living affects someone that they love and that they care about deeply that they're able to understand the depth of the impact of their choices, you know? And I hate to say it, but she might not have met anybody before Glinda that she honestly cared about that much to make that change in behavior, you know? And I think that happens sometimes. I think that this happens a lot in romantic relationships too, of like, you're single, you're operating in a way, and maybe a particular behavior that you have wasn't great for your friends and wasn't great for your family, but you weren't really in a place to like hear that or receive that until you met your significant other, or until you met like your best friend, or you met someone that just had such a huge impact on you that you were like, well shoot, I don't want to operate in this way that's going to be harmful for them, and maybe me operating in this way is not even honest or true to who I am, you know? And I think that when you see the scene and, you know, Elphaba's crying and they're dancing together, and the second time that I watched it, because the first time, you know, you're just watching Elphaba cry, you know? So, oh, by the way, that eyeliner was the e.l.f. Little e.l.f. pencil. But you're just, the second time I saw it, I was watching Ari's face while she was wiping Elphaba's tear, and it was like, yeah, that's the change for good vibe, you know? So once again, things translate differently on movies and films, so maybe they felt like the song having that little reprise just didn't necessarily fit in the film, so I totally get that. But I think if you're new to the story and you're new to Elphaba and to Glinda, not having that aspect can really make you see her selfishly. And I'm not gonna hold you, she was being a bully and she was being mean. I'm not saying that she, you know, was completely innocent, but I think that her motivation for loving and accepting Elphaba being entirely because she wanted to climb the success ladder that she saw that Elphaba was getting at the end, I don't think is true. I don't think that she had any expectation for Elphaba to bring her with her to meet the wizard. She, of course, was hoping that she would help her with the teacher, but I don't think that was like okay, my only goal in our relationship now that we're friends is to get whatever you can give me. You know, that's at least my personal thought. Now we are going to go in with the P. Louise. It is a huge palette. As you can see, I use it all the time. P. Louise Bridal Palette. I got this a couple years ago when my husband and I did our vow renewal. And so there are tons of colors in it, but there's a color in here called Only One. Sometimes I use Marry Me, but basically I like to wet my brush a little bit with a makeup wipe and then dip it in this eyeshadow, and then I use that for my brows because I just really like super strong brows. I always have. Like I said, this channel is like a 2016 makeup channel. I want a very strong, very dark, very bold brow. I think also because I have a large forehead, I feel like it helps kind of fill that gap with my forehead. So we're going to fill that in there. So they get to the Emerald City. I love them showing them getting their nails done. I thought that was cute. I loved all the cameos. Oh shoot, snap. That wasn't the way I wanted to go. That's okay. So we're gonna just wipe that extra line off. But yeah, they show all the cameos in Emerald City, which is amazing. You know, the original actresses, and they were incredible. And then, you know, the such interesting part to me too when she meets the wizard was like how they, number one, Michelle's true colors. Michelle Yao's, which by the way, so fabulous. She rocks every outfit. There's a blue outfit that she wears that has like a celestial vibe, and like the collar is like up the side, and with the blonde, everything. Love it, love it, love it. She absolutely slays it. But immediately, Michelle shows her true colors. Number one, of not truly believing that Elphaba was more powerful than she was. But number two, being like, okay, but if you are more powerful than I am, then you have to express your power in a way that I need you to express your power. And her and the wizard were basically like, we are going to use you, you know? And I thought it was so crazy how like her absolute worst nightmare was hurting the animals, and that's the first thing that they get her to use her magic to do, you know? So I thought that scene was so important to be shown, because I think people who are innocent, people who are new to learning their own power, who are new into stepping their own identity and authority, a lot of times that happens because you have a moment of where there can be people in life that spot your talent before you do. You know, they spot your calling, they spot your beautiful heart, your compassion, you know, and so they decide, now this person is going to use the skills that they don't know that they have, that I know that they have, for what I want, you know. And I found it so interesting because while Elphaba and Ari are in the room, right, Ari just keeps going, there has to be an explanation, you know, there has to be an explanation. And I feel like when you have a situation to where like your whole life changes or crashes before you, or a person that you really trusted and you know, dedicated your whole life to has now betrayed you in some way, that is a reaction that some people have, where they go, no, my senses, you know, my conscience isn't telling me the truth. Like, there just has to be something that I don't understand. And I, once again, appreciate them showing that, because everybody does not immediately defy gravity after being betrayed. For some people, it takes them years to be ready to make that transition. The place that Elphaba was in and the place that Glinda were in were just very different. Elphaba's life had been building up at that point to now step into her power. She had been verbally abused from her dad her whole life. Her situation and relationship with her sister was very complex. But you know, Nessa Rose is not my favorite character, but I do have empathy for her because, of course, of everything that she goes through. But that's for neither here nor there. But I think it's healthy to show that some people are in a place to where they learn something, or they learn that they can't trust someone, or they learn that someone's safe, and they have the tools and the confidence, and they're ready to, like, Elphaba was used to being isolated, right? She was used to being hated. And yes, of course, that doesn't take from the brave step that she takes. It's still a huge brave step. But like, Ari knew nothing but, you know, acceptance. And not just acceptance, but like low-key worship. Like, people absolutely bending over, you know, to love her and to accept her and to do everything that they can to show her that they are on her side, you know. And so she was hesitant to give that up. You know, should she have? Yes. Was that the right thing to do? Yes. But can we also have empathy for the fact that everyone doesn't immediately you know, jump into defying gravity after having a really traumatic experience, yes, we can have empathy for that as well. So now in the story, of course, comes the greatest, one of the greatest songs of all time to ever been written. It has been all over everyone's Instagram page, which I will say is really cool to have been a lover of the story in high school, kind of before social media and the internet is how it was and is, you know, how it is now. And now there's all these memes, all these funny videos, and I do love being able to interact with the story in that way. So now we're going to go in and do our complexion. So I actually am trying this foundation for the first time. This is the Sephora Best Skin Ever. I got it in 59 Neutral. The cool thing about this, it literally popped off. So I've been feeling like I feel like my skin is really hard to match. By the way, this is a Real Techniques foundation brush. A lot of my complexion skin tones come off just so yellow and orangey. As you can see on the screen, it looks so orangey, and it could be because I have very olive skin. I have very golden undertones. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Hold on. I need to take fluffy brush really quick and do just a little bit of color correcting. I always take like an orange tone brown and just kind of pop that on my upper lip, because for whatever reason I have so much darkness on my upper lip. I do like it. It's definitely full coverage. I am a full coverage girl. I want to have a really nice lather. I'm okay with looking like I had makeup on. I'm like, I did all this work to put this on my face. I want you to know that I have it on my face. So we are doing that. And then I'm going to go in, because I always feel like I lose my brows a little bit. I put some foundation on and just kind of add the tail ends of those brows back. The song that really impacted me when I was young and still hits the same. I'm gonna go in with these two. This is Maybelline Fit Me. Not sure what shade this is, but it's a lighter one. And then this is the concealer I've been using all along. I'm just gonna go back in under my eye again just to brighten it up a little bit. So the line, right? She looks at Glinda, Elphaba looks at Glinda, and she says, "Something has changed within me. Something is not the same." And when I tell you, oh yeah, I need to wait a second for that to blend, to dry down a little bit. While I do that, I'm going to add a little bit of bronzer here. Just going in with a fluffy brush and bronzing. But when I first read that, you know how, and this is the beautiful thing about Elphaba's story, you know how when you're in a room, right, and you have values, you have beliefs, you have morals and ideas that are different than everybody that's in that room. You know that, they know that, and there's like this test that can happen, especially if this happens in a social circle, where it's like, okay, but are you actually going to pull the trigger and be different than everyone else in that room? And it's not even about being different. It's truly about, it is about being different, but it's also about, am I going to truly accept myself? Like, I have an opportunity in this moment to either reject who I am and be a version of me that someone else wants or that someone else expects me to be, or I can accept who I am. And something about that line, something has changed within me. And then she goes, not that she doesn't want it, she said, I don't want it, but then she says, I can't want it. Because it is so natural to want to be accepted. It's so natural to want to be applauded, you know, like the Wizard and I song that she sings in the beginning, you know, wanting to have this experience where this person just truly loves you and accepts you for who you are. And everyone deserves to have that experience, but not at the cost of literally changing the fabric of how you are designed, you know? And so when she says, I can't now, me wanting to be accepted is now bumping up against my values, is now bumping up against her belief that everyone should be treated equally about what was happening with the animals. I love how they show her relationship with the professor. First of all, we love the actor. Both me and my husband love that actor, because he's so good. But who plays the voice of him? I'm forgetting his name, but I'll put his name on the screen. He is incredible. And so now my desire to be accepted is now going to make me make a choice that doesn't actually line up with what I believe or who I am, because I want to be accepted by this group of people. And we all in life face that choice of like, I can either do what I know is the right thing to do, or I can do what it will be the applauded thing to do. And that is never an easy choice. I think people underestimate how brave it truly is to be honest and authentic, especially when you're a person like myself. Oh, I'm going on with this Juvia's blush here. Excuse me, burping. Juvia's Volume 1, and I'm using the pink. And here's what I always use. I think people truly underestimate how much work it is for some people to be their authentic selves, me being some people. I think it's because some people have a little bit more confidence than others, so they can think like, oh, it's not really a thing to me, so like it's probably not a thing to other people. But like when you, like Ari, when your safety and your being and your existence is based off of how other people feel about you, you know, and then like Alphaba, when you have literally never had it in the way that it's meant to be for you, like not even from your family, and then going, but you know what? These people, these animals being treated the way that they deserve, that they were created to be treated, is more important than that. And I cannot sacrifice them for myself. It's so beautiful. And it's so hard because I'm sure there was a part of herself that was wrestling and be like, okay, but like this is literally all that I've worked for. But the interesting thing is that it's not actually all that she's worked for. You know, that's the thing that Ari says to her, and she goes, this is, you know, all you've ever wanted. And it's like, yes, in a sense, being accepted by the Wizard, of course, is all she's ever wanted. But what she's really wanted is to feel herself. What she's really wanted is to be comfortable in her own skin. What she really wanted was to have a normal, healthy, safe interaction with the people around her. And that is bigger than her working with the Wizard. You know, she wanted to be able to operate in the world, in a world and in the world in a way that she deserves to, and that every person is deserving of. And she should be able to do that, you know, but she knows that the Wizard and her teacher, oh, this is my little, this, I've used this 1,000 times, which looks like this. I need to wash it, but this is my Real Techniques little powder puff brush, and then I'm going in with the Huda Beauty powder. This one is called Cinnamon Bun. Love it, live by it. It is what makes your makeup look incredible. Powder period is just extremely transformative with makeup. It's just what does it, I'm telling you. So I live for it. I love the way it smells. I always keep it in my purse so that I can you know, straighten up throughout the day. I just love it. And I put it all over my face to kind of set. Oh, love it. And then I'm gonna go back in with my blush to just add any color that I lost. I am putting on these lashes. I don't remember which kind this is. If you go to my Instagram and you click my get ready with me where I'm about to launch my YouTube video, I'm recording my welcome video. That is the pair of lashes that these are, because I'm reusing them. But after I apply the lash, I always take some eyeliner and go back over the eyeliner, and then I also add some mascara. So yeah, a couple things that I wrote down from my notes that are just little honorary mentions. Ari singing Good News, you know, absolutely incredible. Fierro and Cynthia Erivo's first conversation, you know, and she goes, oh, do you normally run people over? He's like, or she's just something like, do you run people over every day? And he's like, oh no, sometimes I'm sleeping. And then she's like, don't worry, like I didn't eat grass as a kid. And he's like, no, that's okay, I did. I thought their cute little, you know, Bridgerton banter was super cute. And then I also loved Ari throwing herself on the bed because that is very me. That is definitely something that I would do. And then I wrote down, you know, of course, we talked about earlier, like we all have narratives and things that we blame ourselves for that are just not true. But we believe that they are. And so we operate from that place. One of the things that I'll probably kind of end the video talking about that the story just really, really means and impacts me is like, Pastor Sarah Jakes has preached a message this past Sunday, at least, you know, from when I was recording this. And she says, you know, something happens when we function like we are forgotten. You know, the way that we interact, the way that we carry ourselves, the way that what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about God is so much less than what the Lord would have for us because we're living from this place like we're forgotten. You know, and that really has been a word for me in this season as I go into this next season of my life. I turned 30 in January, as I've been praying and asking the Lord, like, Lord, help me to not live like I'm forgotten. You know, to live like I'm, you know, not the Lord's favorite, or I just got to take whatever I can get, you know, like I'm lucky if someone loves me, or I'm lucky if someone likes me. Like, no, worthiness is inherent. You know, and sometimes we have to wait for things because the Lord is growing character in us, not because we're not meant to have them. And sometimes people reject us, like with Elphaba's dad, because of stuff that they're dealing with and not always because of who we are, you know. And then other times there's rejection because they're just not people who are meant for us, you know, which is always such a good thing to remember romantically. Like, you want someone who's for you and that's your person. It is so life-changing, and it is always better to wait for that. There are people who are designed for you and to do life with you and who love you and will be so happy to celebrate you, all of who you are. And so you don't have to change your skin. You don't have to change your personality. And I think that personal growth is separate from that. I think sometimes people can say, oh, well, you know, you want to grow and everyone shouldn't be always applauding you all the time. Like, that's like a cushy version of life. I'm like, yes, of course. If everyone in your life, if no one is comfortable to tell you like, hey, this is an area of growth that you need to have, or hey, maybe we should work on this or that, of course that is not how it should be. People should be able to have conversations with you that are growth based, and you be able to receive that. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is living with this idea that you are not worthy, that you're other, that you're different, that you're less than, and operating from that place, causing you to choose people and scenarios and situations that are not what you deserve, that are less than what you deserve. There's an absolutely healthy level of confidence that every single person should have, and of self-care that every single person should have and should experience on a daily basis. And that is very, very important to know and to recognize, you know? So for the end of this look, I'm going to wipe off a little bit of my gloss here. This is one of my favorites, probably my favorite lip liner. And this is the One Size Coin Collector. I went into Sephora and the girls told me about this, and I was like, oh, whatever, it's probably good. No. If you are a brown skin baddie like me, this is incredible. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, the thing is, think I'm opening the wrong side of it. Yeah, there we go. So we are going to line our lips. It is such a nice, pretty color. I love it so much. And I'm going to take my Butter Gloss by NYX and just use a little bit because I want it to be more of a natural look. And just put that inside there. The light so you can see, but this is our final look. I love it. I love the contrast of the green and the pink, and I like the little natural lippy too. I think it's cute. So if you made it through the video this far, thank you so much for watching. You have no idea how much it means to me. This story means a lot to me, so I was so happy to do our first makeup tutorial on this topic. If there's anything that I missed that you'd love for me to cover in our next video, please let me know. Please let me know. Drop a comment below for what you think we should be called. I'm going to leave a few different options in the description, and then I'm also going to talk about it on my Instagram, but I'm working a few different ideas of what I think we should call our community, and I would love to know your thoughts. I hope this video inspires you. I hope it reminds you that you're worthy, and I hope you feel empowered to be your truest, fullest self in every area of your life. Thanks for watching.